The only day I've ever caught 2 steelhead on the swing in the same day, I was like shortly after catching the second one, I saw a run that I spotted a bunch of suckerfish down there, and I like switched my rig up to like trying to like dredge them with a fucking egg or something. And it's not so much of what you use, but you have to get it to slow down. Like they're not going to move for it, and it's got to like bump along the bottom basically to get like, and you got to slow it down.
I love this tricky. Because I bet this may very well be the first time anybody in like a fishing podcast or anywhere has described the techniques for catching a suckerfish. And
they're going to want to know.
I just want to say,
I had to Google. I didn't find it on Google. I tried to go like years and years ago when I first started seeing suckerfish and losing my mind because I couldn't get them to bite anything. And I mean, every now and then you'd randomly catch one, like, but I really wanted to like figure out how to catch all these suckerfish that I was seeing. And yeah, you can't find that on Google.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to Sidechannels, presented by the Flyfish Journal. My name is Jason Rolfe. I'm the editor of the Flyfish Journal, as well as the host of the show, along with my good friend and colleague Kopi Voita, our photo editor. Today we've got pro skateboarder Dave Gravette on the show, and for those of you listening, this one is actually available as a video podcast. That's right, it's 2025. We figured we might as well give it a go. We'll be offering a few selected episodes as video pods this time around, which you can find, if that's your thing, on YouTube and Spotify. If you're like me and do your podcast listening on the road, it's still available in its audio form on Apple and Spotify. As always, we're glad you're here and we appreciate the support. If you aren't already a subscriber to the Flyfish Journal, I hope you'll consider becoming one. Subscribers are the lifeblood of print media, and we wouldn't be able to do what we do without them. Plus, you get bonuses like deals on Flyfish Journal gear and access to our entire archive. It's a win no matter how you look at it. Sidechannels would not be possible without the support of our sponsors, and we're excited to have Decked with us again for Season 2. You know what I really hate? Having to dig around in the back of my truck to reach gear that has been tumbling around after a long, bumpy drive down a forest road. Thanks to my Decked drawer system, I don't have to worry about that. But the thing I might like even better than the drawer system itself, or at least as much, is Deck's Deco cases, built to fit your drawer system and add another level of organizational zen to your outdoor pursuits. What's great is that you don't need the drawer system to enjoy all the benefits of the Deco cases. They'll work equally well keeping your gear organized in just about any vehicle out there. I often transfer my Deco cases between my truck and my van, depending on what I'm getting up to. This year they've got a variety of new colors as well, so you can find a Deco case that fits your lifestyle. Get decked and get after it by visiting decked.com/flyfish. Do it. Get decked. You won't regret it. Sidechannels is also sponsored by Patagonia Fly Fishing. Patagonia's commitment to making solid gear that stands up to the abuse you can throw at it is matched by their dedication to our home planet. They've had some great things brewing recently, including their new Swift Current Expedition waders. Built on exploration, these waders are purpose-made for connecting with wild fish and inspired by the tireless anglers and groups fighting to protect the clean water those fish depend on. Visit patagonia.com/fly-fishing to learn more about the new Swift Current Expedition Series waders and the community of conservationists and environmental advocates that makes Patagonia what it is. So, I first met Dave Gravette a few years ago while working on a film with him about his journey into fly fishing. Dave has been a professional skateboarder for the past 20 years, and I think when you're a professional skateboarder, injuries just come with the territory. It was after one of those injuries that he got introduced to fly fishing several years ago. And I think it is quite possible that there is no one as stoked about catching fish, any fish, on a fly rod. And being around Dave, that level of stoke is infectious. This was a fun one, mainly because Dave is the kind of person that gets himself into ridiculous situations and somehow manages to live to tell the story of each one. That's enough for me. Let's get to the show. What'd you do to your back, Dave?
Nobody knows.
Just life.
Yeah, I mean, I went on a fishing trip up to Canada with Moses Ikonen, an old pro skater homie, and his back was out. He almost didn't make the trip, but stuck it out, and I was just feeling so bad for him, like, oh man, that's brutal, like just fishing through the back pain. And I mean, I was in my kayak a lot, and then I drove all the way home, spent one night in bed, and woke up and my back was out.
It's contagious.
And
I hope I don't get it from you.
That was 3 weeks ago, and I rested the first 3 days, and it was just getting worse and worse and worse. And then I was like, maybe I just need to crack this thing in and go fish all day. And I did. And I mean, I was laying on rocks and bitching and moaning and being like, man, I'm going to pay for this tomorrow. Like, this is going to be bad. And then I woke up and was like substantially like felt a little better and was like, okay, like I can do that. I'll just keep fishing till I get better. It'll be no time. And then it just started not really work. Like I'd get worse and I'd be like, fuck, I think I got to rest. And then I'd take a rest and get worse again. Yeah, I mean, still fishing, but just fishing for less time and closer. I call that a rest day. It's moved to a whole new location now. It's like all in my tailbone, and I don't know.
Do you have like a good like physical therapist or chiropractor?
Definitely
do you do any
not.
of that stuff? No.
I mean, I've done everything. Like it's hard to come up with a therapy that I haven't experienced. And I mean, I don't want to, I've definitely been messed up by chiropractors and massage on my back and stuff like that. Like,
you just like, you came out of it worse than you went in, you feel like?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of different tales of woe at that one. I don't know if we get right in there, but, paid the price a couple times for some questionable medical treatments. And so I've just been kind of trying to I haven't drank in over 2 months. And so I thought my back went out at the month and a half point. So,
yeah.
But
you think that's the cause?
it's I mean, I don't want to encourage treating back pain like this, but I've definitely had some. I mean, I went on a trip where I pinched a nerve in my back like early on, and I was in tremendous pain throughout the trip, and I was like trying to do all this, take care of myself all well and get back skating and stuff. And then we came down to the last couple of days of the trip, and I was like, you know what? I'm not getting better. I'm just going to go enjoy this party that I'm just going to get drunk as hell. And then that's what I did, and I actually woke up and was like, hey, no way, and got like several clips the next day, but definitely not in every, that's not,
that's not,
I think that was a one-off. I was also like 19 or something, so
probably had something to do with it.
Healed different. And it was, I actually got hurt from flipping off a rail and bending my body in half, not just being old and sleeping in a bed.
That's the thing now, right? Like, it happens to me, and I don't even skateboard professionally, but you wake up one day, and your back's out, and it's just like, what do you do?
I don't know. I don't know
how can it hurt so bad? Like,
how
no one beat me with a sledgehammer. But you could fool me. I could feel like I have been.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine sorry, go ahead, Kobe.
I was just going to say, like, I completely agree, and just woke up the other day and must have just slept like with my head in the wrong spot on a pillow, and like total like crick in my neck, and it's like still there, and it's like at certain times like getting up, it's just like ow, 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 and it's just one of those things. It's like I didn't do anything aside from like somehow sleeping wrong.
Aside from getting old.
Yeah, probably.
That's your punishment for getting old.
Most realistic explanation.
That injury was kind of your entry into fly fishing, right? I mean, we might as well jump into that. Like, how did that all come about?
In 2016, I had my second major shoulder surgery, and I mean, when I do my shoulders, I do them right. Like the doctors don't even know how I do it. Like tearing your labrum like 25-30%, that's like a bad enough tear that your shoulder's going to keep dislocating and stuff, and that's usually like kind of where it stops. But I managed to tear all the way, like from mine goes front, top, and back over 86%, like, and
that was just from like
one slam, one dislocation of each one of my shoulders led to this bad of a tear, and not to mention I completely teared the rotator cuff, the bicep tendon. So basically, like, I don't have an option besides get surgery. Like, I basically tore my arm off.
Not gonna heal on itself.
Is it something that accumulated over time, or was that like one slam?
Probably a bit of accumulation, but when I dislocate my shoulders the first time on each, that they both were like very stuck out. Like would try to get it back in, because luckily, I mean, every time I get to go to an emergency room with an out shoulder, it's just sit there for fucking hours in so much pain. Like the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes of a dislocated shoulder, like not that bad. I'm just pissed. I don't even like feel the pain, but then the pain comes in and
your adrenaline.
And I learned a lot after the first one. It was like, when it happened again, I was like, this thing needs to get back in right away. And I just was trying everything, like picking up weights, letting my shoulder, like kind of jiggling, like trying to get it back in, like having homies try to like pull my arm, and couldn't get it back in. And it was like, we got to go to the hospital, and went there. And I tried to just walk straight in. Like I just bypassed everyone and just like, I just need to find a doctor to like put this back in. And like, it almost worked. Like I found someone who was like, hey, like my arm's out. I need to get this back in. And he's like kind of confused. And it was like, okay, like, hold on, go in this room, and like puts me in a room. And I'm like, am I going to get away with this? And then like
actually working right now?
Nurse comes in and was like, what are you doing in here? And I'm like, I explained the deal. Like, I'm a professional skateboarder. This has happened before. And it caused, like, it was really, I think that was one of the reasons why my shoulder tear ended up being so bad, is because it was out for a couple hours. And I was like, I need this to get back. I'm in so much pain, and I know it can just be fixed by just somebody like putting this back in.
You can do it, please.
They're like, that's not how it works. And like, go back to and I think they just punished me, because then I was like out there for a really long time, and I was like, they finally put me in a room, and at this point I'm basically screaming, like I'm just yelling for someone to help me, and I'm just banging my shoulder on everything and picking up equipment and like jumping up and down with it, like just trying to get this thing back in under any circumstance. And it's so, I could hear all the doctors kept complaining about me and stuff, and like saying I'm like and I'm like, just put my shoulder back in, and then I'm out of your hair. Like, it's like this is such a quick thing. And by the time I finally got my moment with the doctor, he can't even get my shoulder back in, because it's been like everything is just so tightened up.
Yeah.
And they end up having to like put me under. Well, they think they've put me under, like, but it's hard to knock me out, and I'm still kind of like, the nurses are just talking so much shit on me, and it's like I can't wait till this guy, like, and I was still conscious, and I'm like, man, you guys are just so horrible. Like, I'm having like the worst day. Like, this is like the worst thing ever, and everyone's just been awful to me in here. And like, yes, shout out Santa Cruz ER, you guys fucking rip. And they finally get it back in, and and I end up having to get surgery, and it's a 6 months completely off the board. And then like, I think it was like between 6 or 8 months.
Did you actually stay off the board for 6 months?
Yeah, I mean, it's bad.
You didn't mess with it.
It's not a fun surgery. I'd already done it with my other one. Like, you don't want to skate. You're still still hurting. And I got my okay from the doctor to start rolling around, and I went to the skate park. I went to run like a light jog to throw down, and my hip dislocated. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And like, literally had to like lay down and have a homie like pull my leg, and then like got it back in. And then I actually like kind of felt all right, and I like tried to skate a little bit again, and it just came out again. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? And
oh man,
went home, like rested for like a week, and then like tried to skate again as just a transportation to the store. And I just like went to bend down to ollie up a curb, and my hip went out again, and was like, what the hell is, like, I'm fucked. And then it just got worse and worse to the point where now my hip was coming out from just, I wasn't even trying to skate, and it was just coming out all the time. I'd be going to sleep and my hip would come out, and I wouldn't, when I was just with my wife, she wasn't able to get it in on her own. Like, she claims she wasn't strong enough, but I think it's just bad technique. And I would just go to bed back, like, with it out, and like wake up and it'd eventually be back in and stuff. And I started going to doctors, and it was a crazy one because it's just, I was once again in my life like a medical mystery, because they'd see me and be like, okay, like, your hip's not coming out. Like, yes, you have really, I had an MRI. That's going back. I've had bad hips like since day one, and already had MRIs on my hip at like 27, and found out I have the hips of like a 60-year-old, like arthritis over the whole joint, bone spurs on the top of my femur. My labrum is torn beyond repair. You can't even repair it with like cadaver or anything. It's just dust. And
so you chose a good profession to go into then.
Yeah, all my cartilage. Yeah, that's the one. The cartilage is all destroyed in the joint too. No, he's like, you have no good cartilage. Not just like some of your cartilage is damaged. Like, you have no good cartilage. Like, he's like, I've literally done hip replacements on people with better hips than you. And so I've been struggling with that for a long time, and had stem cell injections and all sorts of stuff. So hip problems weren't new, but this was incredibly painful and totally something I couldn't get through. And the doctors would be kind of acting like I'm wrong and stuff, and being like, yeah, your muscle structure's still like really good, and like the hip joint's so deep, like it's like, I don't know what's going on here. And they'd start moving my leg around, and I'd be like, it's gonna go, dude. And he'd be like, no, like, you're in good hands and stuff.
Just
and
gaslighting you.
I'd be laying on my back, and the one that would get it every time is when they start pushing your knee in towards your chest. And then I'd be like, it's gonna go. And he's like, no. And then boom, it's out. And he's just like, what the hell is going on here? And like jump back from me, like, what the fuck are you? Like, and would always go get other doctors to come witness what he'd just seen and stuff. And I went to like 3 different specialists, and the guy who kind of had the best idea surgically was like, just clean everything up. Maybe like these bone spurs are getting caught in my tattered labrum and my tattered rags. I just always think of that Homer Simpson when he's kicked out of the house and he's walking out and his clothes get caught, and Marge is all, his tattered rags. He's like, my tattered rags are caught. But they think that was causing like a muscle spasm and pulling the joint out. So I got surgery to fix that, clean that, reshape the whole top of my femur, and clean out the tattered labrum. And it was about 3 months later, when I just started physical therapy, that my hip dislocated in physical therapy in front of the guy. And that was one of the saddest days of my life. And because at this point, I mean, I'd already been off the skateboard for like a year and a half, and like really questioning if I was ever going to skateboard again. And during that time, as I'd started kayaking as like a bit of therapy for my shoulder, because I was still trying to recover from shoulder surgery. And the OG childhood homie Nick Kenny that I was just fishing with yesterday, he was the first one to he was like, man, if you're gonna kayak, you might as well troll a fly line. And I was like, I don't know, like, fly fishing, it always seemed really complicated and too technical, and I'm like, I don't want to figure that whole thing out or whatever. And he's like, oh, it's not that bad, like, don't worry, I'll bring you a fly rod and we'll just go troll around this lake. And we did, and that was my first time catching fish and being able to just really like feel like I wasn't destroying the fish, like, because I've been fishing on and off since when I was a kid. I'd fish with my dad and stuff, backpacking, and catch trout. I mean, I'm sure I was always fishing bait, and I mean, we used to eat the trout a lot. I mean, I got a lot of trout bones stuck in my throat when I was a kid. But when I'd try fishing as an adult, I'd be like, oh yeah, I like fishing. Like, we should go do that and get some homies involved. And
You can stick it up there.
that's all right.
Move the magazine out of the way. Or...
And it would always just end up throwing bait out and sitting there bored, like, and kind of being like bored, and then finally maybe catching some poor little fish that swallowed your hook and
Swallowed your power
having
bait.
to like be like, great, well, I didn't really want to eat a 8-inch fucking sculpin, but
No,
I guess
have
that's
to.
what's on the menu. And but yeah, so that was my first time when I was fly fishing, that I was just popping trout off the woolly bugger, and like was all stoked, and got my dad's old fly rod like a couple days later, and he had the
cool.
the button reel, the automatic
Nice.
reel, and used that for like a couple times. And then luckily, like, Casey Badger was already like, I mean, he's owed the oldest fishing ambassador, the original fishing ambassador for Reddington, and so he was already hooked up, and he gave me a like basic line complete Reddington, and that's what I like really started doing all my fishing with. And
Nice.
I fished that so long, and
Yeah.
when I finally got new, like, because that wasn't like high grade line on it, it's kind of the lower grade, and when I got new line, oh man,
It's like,
dude, I was
whoa.
like, finally everything makes sense, because I just thought I was never gonna learn how to cat. Like, I was like,
This is what it's
what am
supposed
I
to
doing
do.
wrong? Like,
Yeah.
no, so
Yeah.
now I just can't imagine a world without fly fishing.
Yeah. Yeah. You but you grew up fly fishing, you grew up outdoors, kind of doing all that stuff. I mean, I guess, you know, if I have a question here, it's that, you know, skateboarding obviously is, you know, very sort of urban thing, or it's, you know, usually when you think of skateboarding, you think of the city.
Yeah.
Fly fishing, ideally, in some ways, is kind of the opposite. Like, you want to be away from the city.
Believe
But
me,
I'm
that's why
wondering,
I'm such a tortured soul.
yeah. Well, I'm wondering, like, where those things were for you, you know, growing up. Like, did you grow up rural or urban? Were you, you know, doing that stuff when you were a kid?
Definitely on the rural side. Like, I mean, I grew up in Issaquah, Washington, and I mean, at that time, the city was a whole lot. I mean, just one main street, super old school, and yeah, skateboarding was definitely not on my radar at all growing up. I always had like a keen interest in like anything kind of adrenaline seeking, and bike, like, you know, of course, built bike jumps with the local kids around town, like everyone. But I was also, I mean, I was in tracking class. I was going on backpacking trips with my family. Like, I was always, like, before skateboarding, I mean, catching critters is just, I can't remember a time in my life where I didn't catch snakes and lizards and stuff. It's just something I've always
Cool.
been drawn to. And then one of the, like, the strangest my life is full of like just crazy, like super lucky coincidences and then super unlucky stuff. And one of the lucky ones was, for some reason, Issaquah was one of the first towns in all of Washington to get a skate park. Like, Seattle did not even have a permanent skate park, and Issaquah got one.
Yeah.
And like,
When
was
when would this have been?
when I was 10. God, you're gonna put me on the spot of how
Don't
bad
do
I
it.
am at
Don't
math,
Well,
dude.
roughly
So,
late 80s, early
98
90s.
maybe.
Late 90s?
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
late 90s. And of course, that was huge news in like a little town. So every kid in fourth grade every kid started skating, and
Yeah.
I was part of that. And I don't know how long it would have been till I started skating if it wasn't for that. And it's crazy, and then I would never say I lost my nature. I mean, I always had, every time I'd be on, I mean, you can go back throughout my entire skate career, there's footage and photos of me catching lizards and snakes and stuff, like, before I ever had an Instagram, I had a hashtag that was Grav's frog face. That was just like all like people just posting photos of all the frogs I would catch.
Yeah.
And like, but yeah, since getting hurt more often and having to take extended breaks from skateboarding, it's been life altering and great to have something, because it would break me down and like bring me to tears when I was younger of just like, what am I going to do when I get old? Like, am I just going to, I guess I just kill myself when I can't skate. Like, what is like all I care about is like doing stunts. And if I can't do stunts,
Yeah.
what is there? And
Yeah.
now I know.
Did the
Now I know.
There's swinging
something
feathers,
else.
dude.
Yeah. Did the injuries and stuff start like when you were young?
Yeah, before I've been accident prone since the beginning, dude.
And like compared to other, professional skateboarders, like no one is near you.
There's a few people that
injuries?
there's people that have had there's people that have basically died. Like, serious internal injuries and like serious head injuries and stuff like that. Like, there's definitely people with worse one-offs, but I'm not sure if there's others that have been sidelined as much. Like,
Just like
my
the frequency
chart of going down. I've just been on so many skate trips where I get hurt on skate trip. The first day of skate trips so often, and it's haunted my career. Like, I've learned to step into the waters a little slowly.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was wondering, if you find yourself after all these years of injuries and stuff, do you find yourself kind of holding back a little bit, and does that affect
on
your
BMX?
skateboarding?
Yeah, I have to dumb down my BMXing for sure. Like,
You're
I want to try way harder,
hog.
but I know I still like. The skateboarding sponsors have to deal with me hurt enough. Like, I try to not tell them like, listen, man, I had to learn flares.
Yeah.
Now I will not be on those trips.
Yeah.
But, if it happens, it happens, because I'm not going to stop doing any of the things that I love because of the consequences involved. Like, last spring, I damn near got eaten by 2 mountain lions doing my I sleep by myself in a cot, not in a camp, fucking, and don't practice great, like, care. And like, man, you cannot get any closer to getting full on attack than I was. And I had 2 mountain lions just on me for like at least 2 minutes, and I'm yelling, doing everything, and they're just not leaving, ears pinned back, sit down to stand up, sit down to stand up. And I'm just like
how far away from you?
20, 30 feet. And I first
Jesus.
spotted them, like, I was like getting my bed ready, and I was hearing all these chirping from this wooded hill up, and I should have put it together right there, but I'd never actually heard mountain lions. And I'd heard they made, like, I'm sure you guys are like heard that too, that they kind of make chirping noises. Well, I guess I wasn't the only one, but it didn't register to me at the time.
Now I've got a new sound
I was like,
to be scared of.
What bird is this at night? 'Cause it was at
I'm out in the
night.
woods.
And I was like, what bird is making this? I thought it was maybe a fox or something. And I keep going around, and then luckily I had my headlight on that was on its like dimmest setting, but it was still enough to pick up these 2 sets of eyes, like about 80 feet away from me, coming down. I was at like the end of a like road that comes to an end, it comes to an end, it comes to an end, like and I picked up their eyes, and I didn't think much of it at first because I'm used to like deer and whatever, and also I have also, this was my 3rd time with a mountain lion coming into my camp, so I have been, and I've had bears and stuff, so I do have bear spray and a big flashlight in my truck, and I usually sleep with it near me. And so I was like, I will go get my bear spray and flashlight to make sure this isn't one of the bad ones. Mm-hmm. And in that like 20 seconds or less it took me to go around my truck and get that stuff and come back to where, like, to look down the road, they had way more than half the distance. Now they're like 20, 30 feet from me, and I'm like, well, whatever this is, like, they're coming to, like, they are coming for me. And I like hit it with the light, and my initial thought was like, oh, it's a deer, because it was so big. And then I saw the tail dragging on the ground and was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, it was a male and female, and the male was fucking huge. Like, even for like, I mean, it was just literally struck me as the biggest mountain lion that's ever existed. May or may not have been. But, and I started yelling at him, and I did have my bear spray in the same hand that I had my phone that I thought was recording. I literally was looking through the screen being like, I am getting the sickest clip ever, like yelling. And it was really gratifying to me, because all those other like, there's always a reason why I can't get a shot of these. Like, either they leave before I get my phone out, and because of course you got to take the first thing you got to do is take care of the problem, not make sure you're getting the clip, or it'd be too dark. I have lots of clips where you can kind of see the eyes, or like if I put really grainy black and white, you can see that there's a bear cub running by my feet. That was a bad one. But this time, like, I had everything set, and I was like, dude, I'm fucking nailing this. I hope I like.
This is
cold. But they aren't leaving, and I'm like, man, this is pretty bad, actually. Like, I'm being like as aggressive can be. And then I started picking up some stones, and like, I didn't actually hit him, but I threw it like pretty hard, like next to the ground, like made the ground like kind of explode next to him. And like, that was enough for the big one to like move over. Like, he left, but he was like, he just backed off. But the female was just fixated on me. And
jeez,
it wasn't even anything I did that finally made her leave. The male started chirping again, and then she left. And then I went to like look at my phone and saw that
you didn't get it.
I didn't hit record. But basically this is a really long way of saying what I started out of. Like, I was pretty shook by that. I slept in my truck that night, but then the next night I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, it's part of my identity as myself, is like, I love sleeping out, and like being able to have I hate tents like around me where I can't see everything. Like, if I hear a noise, I want to be able to look at it. And like, I do kind of enjoy the fear of going. I feel like I sleep better for some reason when I'm like,
that's great. That keeps me up sometimes.
So the next night I slept in my cot on the side of a river in the middle of nowhere, and was scared, but I'm like, I'm not gonna stop skating because I'm gonna get hurt. I'm not gonna stop sleeping out in the open. I do need to get better with my food storage. God damn it, though. I am fucking sketchy. I listen to the Tooth and Claw podcast, the fucking animal attack one. I listen to all that, and I'm just like, man, these guys are gonna roast me when it goes down. Like,
just go get yourself a bear can or something. And
dude, the worst part is that my
far away
thinking
from camp
is that I can't get rid of the part of me that still wants to have the encounter with the animal. So I purposely leave, like, I mean, I'll sleep in my cot, and I'll put my coolers in the back of my truck. And be like, in my head, the animal's going to come to my truck, make some noise, trying to get into that shit. I'm going to wake up, see it, get a cool experience, and yell at it, and I'll probably leave, bear spray it if I have to. And bear sprayed that exact thing happened once. Turned out a bobcat was ripping up the trash bag in my back of my truck. It woke me up in my cot, and I was like, there's a bear in the back of my truck. Got my stuff together and started walking up there. And as I was trying to get the safety off the bear spray, I accidentally just blew it into my hand. And like, I don't know if you've ever bear sprayed yourself, but it's like a chemical burn. Like, it's so bad. It just pollutes everything that you touch. Like, I'm doing a lot of running on.
That's great.
Have you I guess I'm wondering, like, I imagine you were like this as a kid, and I imagine your parents were probably terrified.
Dude, I got lost when my parents took me backpacking when I was a toddler, and like, it's one of my family's like most terrified story. Like, I mean, they're backpacking in the middle of, I don't remember exactly where we were, but I know we were out there because the story goes I caught a golden trout the next day. So I know we were somewhere like far out where golden trout are. And we're camping by a raging river, as it's described or whatever, and I wander off somehow. I don't know how my parents.
Let
But I mean, I was a difficult kid, I'm sure, and
Yeah.
I got out of sight and disappeared. And
How old were you?
I mean, I don't.
You're little. Little.
Too young to like remember.
Yeah.
Old enough to like be able to walk around, I guess, and
Yeah.
get far enough away to take a couple hours to find. And like, I mean, yeah, it's described as like the worst moment
Harrowing.
of my parents'
Oh yeah.
life, and they were convinced I'd fallen in the river and gotten like washed away already. And they finally found me sitting on a log crying, like covered in mosquito and horsefly bites. So I mean, we had a lot of. I got impetigo on a backpacking trip once, and we had to like rush out of there because
What is that?
I used to pick my scabs all the time. Still do, honestly, but
So good.
it's
I love
a disease you get from like
love
from reopening a wound too many times.
it. Never heard of it.
And I mean, it'll kill you if you don't get treatment for it, but it's like treatable. It's like you break out with like itchy rash, like around where the wound is like the starting or whatever. And and then my dad shattered his elbow trying to carry me across a creek backpacking as once too, like slipped, and then to like avoid hurting me, like took it all on his elbow and we had to rush out of there and him get surgery and stuff. So I was getting into it
Yeah,
since like,
Adventurous.
yeah.
Was there like, is it like, thinking back on it, was there anything that you think obviously skateboarding there's adrenaline involved and there's the rush of trying new things, it's dangerous, this and that, and then you go out, like I feel like I've heard stories of you picking up rattlesnakes, or at least trying to, and like
I have.
that that sort of impetus to kind of challenge yourself, I guess, but also just kind of thrill seeking. Like, what's the source of that, do you think? Or do you think there is a source, or is it just like you came out that way?
I think, I mean, my parents joke about that I've been doing stunts since I was in the womb, because I guess I flipped shortly before I came out, and I was like, my mom was looking at having to get a C-section because I was facing the wrong way, and then I flipped back over shortly before it was time and
Like,
came out the regular way. And that's another thing, is I can't remember a time in my life where I couldn't like I've been backflipping since like as early as I can remember. Like on beds is where I remember doing my first backflips, and yeah.
Backflipping
So skateboarding,
in the womb.
I mean, skating must have come as like a revelation almost.
Oh yeah,
like,
no, it was
being able to did you kind of have this sort of energy that suddenly you have skateboarding and you can sort of direct it towards something?
Yeah, and all of my other hobbies fell very, very violently and died of horrible deaths witnessed by family members alike. I mean, my sports careers, like I did all the team sports and stuff as well, and baseball, I guess, was my real thing. That was definitely the one I was the best at, and I was like, I mean, everyone talks about how good they were at baseball, but I mean, I'm pretty sure I got awards from like the leagues and stuff,
Yeah.
and like
You won
not
the
just the teams, and
you were on the all-star
was on
team?
the special. Yeah, when it was time to get picked and stuff, like
I got on the all-star team. I don't know about you.
But I ended up on a really bad team on my last year. The team where it's like coach's son, and the coach just like had the mentality of like every kid gets to play every position, and it's like kids that were, it was hard enough for them to put on a mitt and get in the outfield, were being forced to pitch and cry, have meltdowns in front of the whole family because this coach was so determined to be that dude. And like it really ruined the whole vibe of our we forfeited games because we like were losing by so much. Like it was bad, and I got to the point, and I'd found skating, so I just would take my mitt off and sit on the ground, and like if the game was in Issaquah, I would just throw my mitt to my parents in the stands and just take off running, because it was like, I mean, I was in my town, like I could just run to the skate park and borrow a board or something. And show up back home later, and eventually the parents got together and were like, hey, it's apparently obvious that your son doesn't want to be involved in this anymore. Like, he's got our blessing to leave. And I mean, I know my dad really wanted me to like finish the season, but hell, he was getting thrown out of games too. Yeah.
Well, where did skateboarding then kind of go from there? Like from just being a kid that gets a board and starts going to the park in town to, you know, kind of realizing like, oh, I can actually kind of make a living from this, have this be my life a little bit. Like how, because I guess I'm kind of curious. The first time, you know, we did the film with you guys, or with you in 2021, I think, like almost 4 years ago. And I remember like talking to these guys and talking to Liam, you know, who was shooting the film and whatnot. And I was like, so does Dave do like competitions and stuff? Or like, you know, I was just trying to like wrap my head around, you know, you as a professional skateboarder. And Liam kind of laughed and he's like, no. Like Dave doesn't have to do competitions. Like, and that's when I kind of realized like, oh, you're basically kind of, I don't know, you would call it a free skater or something like that. Like in the same sense that there's free surfers or, you know, whatever. And so, you know, yeah, I'm just curious to sort of, you know, learn a little bit about how you got there.
It's another one of those crazy coincidence things that shaped my life completely. I mean, yeah, I didn't have it on my radar to be a professional skateboarder. I mean, people would tell me I was good a lot, but I mean, I'd never met pros, never came through. Like I'm in little bumfuck nowhere in Washington, and like
Issaquah is not the
you're
center
not
of the
on the radar
world.
of anything. Like,
yeah.
And the one time I'd been down to California for this contest, like I qualified at a local contest for like the Vans Amateur Nationals down in California, and like my dad took me and some friends down there for me to compete in the contest, and I was just like blown away how everyone, like, where I had just gotten like my first pair of skate shoes. Like I'd been skating in like Reeboks and like Mighty Duck shirt and like whatever my parents got me from like Ross. And then I come down to Southern California and everyone's got like tight jeans, like just looks like a pro skater basically. Like, and I was just like, what the hell? And like, we're just seeing pros everywhere. And it was like super rad. But then it was also like, well, they got that. Like, how am I, like, where do I fit in here? Like, I don't have anywhere near of cool stuff to skate. I don't have pros at every park to skate with. I don't have parents that used to skate that just like know it. Like, I don't have that. I mean, I had a hell of a lot more than a lot of other people that made it as well too. But like, but I mean, I still just wanted all I cared about was just skating. I just wanted to just keep skating and doing that. And I was working at the skate park, Renton, Washington, that big skate park in an airplane hangar that I worked at from like age 15 to like 17. And so I'm working there, and Chronic Energy Drinks comes through like in a big double-decker tour bus, and their guys are like skating and stuff. And the owner like comes up to me, one of the guys on the team, like his mom knew me and like told the guy like, oh, that you should sponsor him, like he's really good and stuff. And he comes over to me like, I hear you're good, like do you have a sponsor me tape? And like I did have one like at the park, so I gave it to him, and he was like, yeah, like I like it, like do you want to come on this trip like right now? And like I'm like yeah, fuck it. And like no one else is taking me on trips, like I don't care. Like I literally left from work, like I think we had to get me a toothbrush and stuff because I like didn't even have like stuff. I just got in the bus and left. And the very next day, the first park we went to was Arlington, Washington, which was brand new at the time. And like we went there, and the Creature team is there, but the Creature's not even a thing. Like, Creature hasn't even become a thing yet. Just some, I recognize, like, Darren Navarrete and Al Partinen and Sam Hitz, and like damn, those guys are here. Like, what's going on? And I knew Al Partinen was the Globe team manager, and I'd been trying to get a hold of him because I was trying to get like flow from Globe. Mm-hmm. I think I'd sent him a sponsor me tape that he never responded to or something, and so I went and talked to him and was like, hey, I've actually been trying to get you a sponsor me tape or whatever. Like, I have one. Can I give it to you? And like, gave it to him, and he ended up watching it in the Chronic RV, and then was like impressed and went and tried to get Darren to watch. It was like, hey, Darren, like, you should maybe come check out this kid's tape. And like, Darren was like, I ain't going in that fucking RV, like, and wouldn't watch it. And then like whatever. And Joe Hammocky was on the trip, and I didn't know was a photographer. Like, rest in peace, the fucking homie. But he was there, and he asked me to do this ollie into the bowl that I was just kind of doing. Like, I didn't really think it was that crazy, and I did it again for him. And months go by, and then my friends start hitting me up saying that you have a 2-page spread in Thrasher, and I'm like, what? Like, you're a lot. Like, I totally thought people were just kidding with me, till like some people that I knew weren't connected were like hitting me up too about it, and then like had to rush out to the. Dude, we had to go to Hollister, is where we used to go to get our magazines, dude. It was the only
like in the mall?
Yeah, like that was the first place to get, like, you could always rely that Hollister would have all the skate magazines. Huh. It was so weird. Like, yeah. And went and got it, and sure enough, and it's in that Creature article, like, because Creature had just started, and this was their, like, coming out party, basically. Like, hey, we're a brand now. This is our, like, they'd gone on that tour. And I'm like in the article, and then I was riding rep flow for independent trucks through John Crouch, and he was like the NHS rep. NHS is like the God, I'm spacing on the word. The I mean, there's a better word for it, but the distributor of like Creature, bunch of brands. So they're kind of connected, and he tells me that like, yo, Creature is like pretty stoked on you, like they want to put you like fully on the team and stuff. And I'm like, well, I mean, that's cool, but I was riding for this little company, Santa Fe Skateboards from Florida, that I'd somehow managed to find myself on, and like I'd never quit a company before. I didn't understand how skateboarding worked, how any business works, that it really matters like who you're associated with. I just like, it only matters how good you are at skating, right? Like, it doesn't matter like who you're sponsored by or like anything. But no, definitely not true. Not at all. More so now. Never been so true now. And he convinced me, like, again, shout out to John Crouch, always, like, I mean, he told me that it was gonna be one of those decisions that was going to come in life that I was going to look back on for the rest of my life and regret if I like didn't do this. And
if you didn't jump on with Creature.
Yeah, and he 100% would have been right. And so
you're still with Creature, right? Yeah. And Creature is primarily like boards?
Yeah.
Or like a little bit of everything.
Yeah, they make all sorts of fun apparel stuff as well. Yeah. I mean, they've made all sorts of shit, and I won't give it all away, but my 20-year anniversary with them is next year, and they're making some special shit for me.
Probably some fishy themed stuff. I mean, I feel like it seems like there's been this affinity between skateboarding and fishing. Maybe not necessarily fly fishing, but skateboarding and fishing for a little while. Like, I can't remember the dude's name, but the guy that started Bass Turd.
Yeah. I'm also going to forget his name.
I feel really bad now. I actually met him at a Pig Farm Inc. Like, what was their karaoke thing?
Just the iron. It wasn't an iron fly.
Well, there was it was at a bar in Seattle that I also can't remember the name of, but there was like an iron. Yeah. You were probably there. Yeah. There was like the iron fly going on, like the fly tying competition, and then American Flydle was like the karaoke J-Jump. But I met Brooks. Is that it?
I think so.
Bastard. Anyway, but yeah. So blah blah blah. He's got obviously skate inspired but, fishing themed stuff. I feel like 6 or 7 years ago, some skate company, somebody on some, like one of the bigger brands like Vans or something, I feel like was like doing some like fly fishing, or not fly fishing, but doing some fishing stuff. And I don't know, I wonder if that's something that you are like have seen over the course of your career, or if you have any sense of like,
I have a sense that it's picking up right now.
Yeah.
And
You're
there's
at the
one brand in
forefront of it.
particular that is getting on board and put me in a pretty hard, they promised the world to me, and then it's not happening, and it's been happening with other people, and I'm like, okay, if you want to do skateboarding and fishing, I will just put my foot down and say there is no one more fucking dedicated to this shit right now. I will say that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this is my life. Like, that is my fucking life.
We'll get back to Dave in a minute, but before we do, I want to tell you about those new Deco case colors from Decked. Deco cases are the stuff organizational dreams are made of. They are solidly built, weatherproof, and come in a variety of sizes and configurations that allow maximum versatility for whatever ways you can dream up to utilize them. You can get them with a variety of trays and dividers, as well as foam inserts that can be customized for carrying everything from camera gear to power tools. With a handful of new colors, including Ranger Green, Blaze Orange, and Cool Gray, you can match the case to its intended use. Ranger Green for that low-profile blending in look, or Blaze Orange for that can't miss it, won't forget it at the campsite, this stuff is important look. Deco cases are a great way to get in on what Decked has cooking for you non-truck owners, and don't forget this stuff is made in the USA and shipping is always free. Visit deck.com/flyfish to learn more, and then get out there, get decked, and get after it. Well, what is it like? What what do you think the affinity is between fishing generally, but fly fishing and skateboarding for you and for the other?
It's the same thing. I refuse to believe that it's not. You really. I think we find like so much similarities in what we felt in skating. Or it's like that with a lot of extreme sports. It's not just skateboarding. Like, you got the BMXers, the snowboarders, and stuff that also find fly fishing, and it's just that source of. For me, speaking, like, one of the greatest feelings I got to experience from skateboarding was just such a great level of achievement. Like, that feeling of like putting in tons of work to learn something, like riding away from that trick and just feeling like just as happy as I think you can feel, really. And when you've putting in tons of work, like when I finally just caught my first winter steelhead on that damn sandy river, dude, that was, I don't know if I'll ever experience such an endorphin rush of just like, because that's definitely, not my first steelhead, not my first steelhead on a swing, not my biggest steelhead, nothing. But like, that's the first river I started trying to catch these damn fish. And like, I'm willing to also put my foot down that I don't think anyone had ever fished that river as much as me without catching one. Like, the coldest stick on the, it was just so hard to just get up in the morning every day, like, and be like, why am I gonna like wake up at 5 a.m, be freezing cold, and go drive all this, because now I don't even live by it, but I was still determined to make it happen. And that feeling is the same as I would feel after riding away from some of those 6-hour kink rail battles of just in the darkest depths of despair, and then rise to such a great feeling. And I think that's something that people in the extreme sports world gravitate to, the feeling that they get from fishing. And I think fly fishing especially, because there's just so many variables and when you're on your way to a new I've used this analogy before, but it's the same. Like, when you're on your way to a new body of water, those feelings and thoughts that I'm getting of like, what am I gonna try first? Like, what's gonna work? Like, am I gonna be on sinking line? Like, am I gonna use what weight rod? Like, what flies? Like, just so many different variables of like what I'm gonna try first to figure out the puzzle. And when you're going on your way to a new spot or something, you're getting all that same like adrenaline of like, man, what trick, like, I wonder what's going to be like maybe like, is crook going to work? Is back lip going to be the trick? Like, I don't know, like what's it going to be? And just lots of similarities. And I think, yeah, and for me too, being as obsessed with fly fishing has really helped my skateboarding with, I don't know what it is. I mean, I'm pretty sure wading rivers is the best cross training you can possibly do for skateboarding. Like,
It's gotta
so
be.
much balance.
It's got to be
And, like,
helpful for your balance. Yeah.
Every step, you don't know what you're stepping onto, and all those little muscles are triggering your balance reflexes, and that's the same as like balancing on a board. Because like before fly fishing, I would get hurt out for 6 months, try to come back to skating, like wouldn't have board control, feel totally like foreign on the board, and
because you kind of weren't using those same muscles.
Now, like, I don't skate for a while and come back and film. Like, I don't feel like I've left anything behind when I skate again. It's really weird.
Well, it's interesting because I used to skate as a youngster, and we moved. My uncle.
I remember my first.
Wait, you're not a youngster anymore?
Unfortunately, I don't consider myself one. My uncle gifted me a skateboard, like Tony Hawk, Pal Peralta, freaking sick ass deck, right? And I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years into it, we had moved, and I started hanging out with like this neighbor girl, and she's like, "Let me borrow your skateboard," and I'm like, "Okay, but like, take it around the block, don't give it to anybody, like, don't let anybody else borrow it." She comes back, no skateboard, and of course, like, she's like, "Oh, like somebody wanted to borrow it." And I'm just like, "What did I tell you?" Anyway, like, I'm young enough, and so my parents like kind of went to her parents and were like, "Hey, you know, can you maybe try and replace our son's skateboard?" And within like a couple weeks, like, they had moved, so it was like just didn't replace the skateboard. So anyway, long story short, that was kind of the end of any
Career.
skateboarding that I had done. Yeah, I mean, I have one now, I just don't do it. But to me, I can see, you know, similarities, but also, you know, somewhat kind of glaring unsimilarities between fly fishing and skateboarding too. But like, there's camaraderie, you know, in the crew, your buddies that you're skating or fly fishing with, right?
Yeah.
But also, you know, in its essence, like, it's a solitary thing. Like, and it's not a team sport, obviously, and that's like, I'm sure you probably skateboard alone at times.
No.
Never.
I was just thinking about that the other day while I was having a really nice time fishing by myself.
Like, I never do that. I never.
It's kind of
skateboard
weird
by
because,
myself.
like, I don't want it, like, I would never want to go skating by myself.
Yeah.
Is that because you're normally going to a park, or because you just?
I mean,
if you go to a
several
park,
reasons. One, mostly that accident-prone thing we were talking about. Like,
Like, you want somebody to have your back.
I see. I'm not doing the Home Alone clips. That'll just be like a hour long clip of me lying there, like, or something, like
paralyzed, like waiting for help.
Yeah.
Oh no.
but no skating alone, huh?
Not really. I mean, trying to think if there's been any times recently where I've like caught a rip. I mean, I've gone.
Is it just because it's better or more fun to do it with people?
Yeah, for sure. And that's kind of one of the downfalls of being a pro skater. One of the only ones. You definitely feel a little weird when you show up at the skate park by yourself, or like. It's nice to have some, because you kind of never know what you're gonna. Sometimes you meet, most people you meet or know you or whatever, it's totally cool and everyone's rad, but sometimes you're maybe not in the mood to be that guy. Like, everyone's kind of got an idea of how you're supposed to be before they like meet you or something.
Yeah.
And there's a sense of not knowing. Like, it's just nice to have a homie there if like there's someone who's like really won't stop talking to you about weird stuff, and like you can go at least talk to a homie or whatever. And
kind of creates a little bit of a barrier or a shield to with the world if you don't feel like being personable, or, you know, if you don't feel like being on all the time.
Yep, for sure. And yeah, but it's...
So yeah, I mean, it makes sense that fly fishing would, you know, would come in and give you that opportunity to just get away and go sleep by yourself with the
It's
mountain
getting harder though,
lions
man. It's getting fucking harder.
Yeah. How so?
And, I mean, just how crowded everything since the pandemic. Like, it's sad. I'm sitting here like haven't been doing like being an obsessive fly fish guy for that long, but I've already seen so many of my spots like.
You're already getting grumpy about it. Get out of here, you
grumpy.
kids.
And I mean, the thing that bothers me the most is like the influencers and YouTubers that tell people where they are all the time and like
selling it out a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's just kind of annoying because you're profiting. Like they know that's the only way they're gonna like. That's what's made them even have an audience. Is just like, hey, I'm willing to tell you exactly what I'm doing every time and where I'm going, and then people flock to it. And no, I'm not benefiting from that. I don't benefit that you're guiding on that lake now. Like that's just a lake that I've been fishing, having precious moments at like for decades. Like, cool, profit off of it and show everyone where it is. Like, and. I mean, but I'm also guilty we're all a little guilty of inspiring people to, and we know how great it is. So it's also like, I mean, you want everyone to like benefit and help their life. Like you could change the world by everyone loving fly fishing maybe, you know, but we just need more space.
It's a tricky balance.
Or less humans, right?
I mean, that's the solve to every one of the world's problems is population control, but...
But yeah, I mean, that's definitely a tricky balance, you know, in terms of, you know, like we work for a fly fishing publication. Like
I have a YouTube.
We
follow
want
me on
people to be
YouTube,
stoked.
dude. I'm trying.
Exactly.
I want some of that. My wife was like, if you're gonna be gone fishing all the time, you need to like make money. But the YouTube hasn't been getting a whole lot of. I get a lot of comments. Tell us where you are and what flies you're using.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing, right? It's like you know, I do this, Kopi does this because like we love fly fishing. It stokes us out. We want to tell people about it. We want to like share like the feelings that you're describing. But then it's like, there is that balance of like, you know, we have discussions sometimes about like, oh, should we include the name of, you know, X river in this piece or in this story or in this caption, or should we try to keep it, you know, and it's tricky, especially nowadays, because that stuff, the internet is forever. So.
I feel like everywhere has got like, I mean, every region kind of has their bodies of water where everyone's kind of made peace with like, whatever, fly shop, go post your stuff about it, I'll talk about it, whatever. But then there's the bodies where you're like, come on, like, let's let people have to do a little bit of work and and learn to be a better steward of the land before they discover this place. Like, I mean, has Casey taken you to that super nice lake up on
Careful.
I know, but one of my favorite fucking places, man. And it was so trash. Someone drug I think they got it up there on snowmobiles because like it's at the very least a mile in and out, and there was a hockey goal sitting up in there and like trash everywhere and
like some alpine lake somewhere.
Alpine lake, just
it's
huge
kind
burn
of
pit.
It's mind blowing.
Like, it's just jabronis everywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
do you find? I wonder, like, it. You know, you seem to have a real affinity for alt species. Like you were showing us pictures of the chub that you were catching.
It's like every fish out there killed my paw, and I gotta track them down.
I wonder if part of that sort of joy you get from catching all these different species is just that, you know, does part of that come from the chance to go someplace where there aren't a ton of people and, you know, fish some little like pond in the middle of the city that nobody is fishing, or some weird like canal ditch somewhere that, maybe everybody's over on the Sandy and you're over here in this weird canal ditch.
I'm on that program all the time. Well, or I'll be on the same river, but I'm targeting like
completely different
you're
tactic.
targeting suckers. And
the only day I've ever caught 2 steelhead on the swing in the same day, I was like shortly after catching the second one, I saw a run that I spotted a bunch of suckerfish down there, and I like switched my rig up to like trying to like dredge them with a fucking egg or something, and it's not working. I'm like spending all this time changing setups, trying to find because suckerfish can be it's not so much of what you use, but you have to get it to slow down. Like they're not going to move for it, and it's got to like bump along the bottom basically to get like, and you got to slow it down.
I love this tricky. Because I bet this may very well be the first time anybody in like a fishing podcast or anywhere has described the techniques for catching a suckerfish. And
they're going to want to know.
I just want to say,
I had to Google. I didn't find it on Google. I tried to go like years and years ago when I first started seeing suckerfish and losing my mind because I couldn't get them to bite anything. And I mean, every now and then you'd randomly catch one, but I really wanted to like figure out how to catch all these suckerfish that I was seeing. And yeah, you can't find that on Google. I Googled like how do you catch suckerfish on fly rod, and like,
dude, you've got yourself a blockbuster book right here.
I tell my buddies that guide on the Sandy and have to like have disappointed clients all the time, and I'm like, I'm just gonna start guiding suckers.
And we're gonna have
happy fucking client. But
Did you try swinging your steelhead flies
and snagging? No, that's the way to.
No, not snagging them.
That's how it usually happens.
Because I have caught multiple times swinging for steelhead. I've caught suckers in the mouth.
I haven't caught them in the mouth.
It's odd because you wouldn't think they're trying to eat a 3-inch.
I think they get fouled in the mouth.
Pattern. I don't know, man. I'm convinced.
Inside of the mouth.
I'm convinced that they've tried to eat my fly.
Under perfect maybe if your fly is bumping on the ground and swing and getting slowed down right in front of them, because I've got them to eat like good sized leeches and stuff, but like I said, it's just what I found. It's just really having to have it in the right spot and speed, because like I'll be targeting the same sucker for like a while and
Project Fish
running the same fly or whatever, and I'm just throwing it up, but like my drift won't be quite right, and I'm just but it's still getting like within a foot of the fish for sure, but it's not reacting at all, and I'm like, has it seen my fly? Is it just over it? But then you get that one where it's lined up perfectly, and you let some more line drop so it can try to catch on a couple things and slow down, and once you get it to like, if you're within the 3 inches of its mouth, there's a good chance it's gonna fucking turn and suck, and then it's just like kind of like carp fishing.
I was gonna say, this sounds like carping.
Dinner plate.
Put it on the dinner plate.
Dude, you can make carp. A lot of stuff can be like carping. It's sick. When you can't do carping all year, so you got to take advantage. You got to do like what I was talking about with the sculpin dipping with the
with the little twig,
makeshift tenkara rod, homemade stick.
Do you keep a list of species that you've caught?
I really wish I did. I just kind of
have them somewhat memorized,
like when you haven't caught a fish that you've just caught type thing. Like if you catch something and you're like, what is this? Like, I've never caught this before.
There's stuff that I've caught like when I've been on trips in other countries and stuff and managed to catch like random little things, like
some exotic
I'm not
thing.
Always 100% sure, or I'll usually find out what it is, but then I forget,
or take a picture and
I'll have like a picture later. So I'll like tell myself that one day I can go back and
look it up.
Now that I have a computer, I finally have, like when I started trying to do the YouTube thing and got a computer, I've actually been like recording things better in there, which has been real nice, because everything is in my cloud. Like, it's kind of crazy when I go to like try to like make an edit or something. I'm just like, man, there's so much here. Like, I've been meaning to make a steelhead edit to this specific song I shouldn't now. People are already gonna know. And I'm like, it's overwhelming to me because I'm like, I have so much good footage of steelheading over the years, and I need to like, I want the best of the best. Like, how am I gonna?
Yeah,
it's a deep dive. That's a project.
It's a good problem to have. Very good problem to have.
Yeah.
You gotta. Well, I have to wade through a lot of fucking 10-inch trout to find this.
What? I wanted to ask you about Swamp Fest because it looks insane, and you fished at Swamp Fest.
Yeah,
I feel like at least this last one
every time
you've gone.
Yeah.
Tell us about Swamp Fest.
Oh man, I'm trying to think of the perfect thing to say because there's just it's a lot. I mean, I'm trying to think of the Fight Club quote maybe, but I mean it's just crazy. There's
just
nothing
a big
else
party.
like it. The most dangerous party in the world. I mean, there's no being a spectator. Like, there's a big sign that says like no spectators. Like, if you're inside here, you are like you have to sign a waiver just to like watch because like it's that crazy. They took fireworks away this year, but now people are throwing all sorts of
bummer.
A lot of dildos flying, big heavy. I mean, that hurts too when it hits you. I mean, yeah.
Is it just something that's like put on by the industry, or is it just like
Trey
people
Jones,
down in
BMX?
It's in Florida, right?
Yeah, pro BMXer Trey Jones from Florida created it he's got a sick ass ragtag band of friends out there, and they just build crazy sketchy ramps out of pallets and just fucking. You got to just give it a search or something, look at it. It's really hard for me to even think of. I don't want to not do it justice describing the mayhem of Swamp Fest. And yeah, they've set it all on fire at the end. So that's where kind of the most danger, because there's always a big main obstacle and people always stay on the obstacle for like as long as possible. Obstacle will be on fire and like, man, because there's usually water by it and they stay on it as long as possible and jump into the water. But like things break through or whatever and you're just, it's gnarly.
It's just a little bit of anarchy.
There's some sort of like voodoo like spell over it to like keep no one from dying. I mean, people get hurt. There will be blood for sure. Like, but
do you get funny looks from people when you're breaking out the fly rod at Swamp Fest?
No, man, that's Florida, dude. Well, I guess some people want to like question fly fishing, but everyone's down for like they aren't surprised that I want to catch stuff. Like they're like, yeah. But I don't think I caught a fish. I didn't get a chance to fish that much this year. I usually catch like a bass or two in like the ponds around there, but
nice. I
tried a bit. I don't think I got any bites. There was an alligator in the pond this year though, and I'd just been like before anyone knew about the actual gator in the pond. Like I was trying to rail that was like going over the water and then turning around and coming back to land, and like I mean I was falling in the water over and over again and searching for my board would be down there, and then it was a couple hours later when I started fishing that I like spotted the gator like floating around. I mean it was just like a 3-footer, but you know like that thing gets a hold of your dick, you're in a lot of problems. You're in a world of trouble.
Do you outside of stuff like that, what are sort of the other I guess your sort of day-to-day professional skateboard life? I mean I've seen that you do like skate camps and stuff.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
I mean I don't even know what. I mean that's what I've said. I don't even know what being a pro skateboarder is anymore. Like it's very confusing. Like I'm like, do I model? Should I go be is that what I do? Or how do I make mute? Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do really. I skate when I can and I just go about whatever seems right at the time. Yeah.
How'd you get into doing like the skate camps and stuff?
I mean, I always thought Woodward was like pretty cool. Like I always wanted to go there as a kid or whatever, and I wanted to play on foam pits and resi ramps and stuff. And I mean, I think they just contacted me like years, and it's been a long time that I've been doing those, and they
You
just
do that
said
like
if I wanted to be
every year.
It's been every year, at least a few of them. Last year I did Woodward West, Woodward Tahoe, and Woodward Pennsylvania, and
Oh wow.
they all have cool fishing around them, so that's mostly what I did. Dude, at
Like,
Woodward,
hey Dave, do you want to
Pennsylvania,
come to Woodward in Pennsylvania? How's the fishing?
They did. They told me about the fishing pond, and I mean,
In their
'cause
pitch?
now. When you're a guest pro there, you're supposed to put on 2 clinics during your week, like just like a clinic of learning, like, hey, I'm doing a flip trick clinic, I'm doing a manual clinic, I'm doing a skate the mini ramp clinic. Like it doesn't, it's just some scheduled thing that they put on that the kids are going to do with you or whatever. And they were like, hey, we think it'd be cool if you did fishing for your clinic. And I'm like, I'm super down. Hell yeah. Like, and they got that pond right there that's got bass, bluegill,
nice.
crappie, and the biggest carp I've probably ever seen, but like
Uncatchable.
It's not no water clarity at all, and the thing is why it's not feeding somewhere where I can spot fish it. And snapping turtles I found out as well. And so basically they drive, go up to the pond for my fishing clinic, and a Woodward employee shows up with like 4 fishing rods and a tackle box and like drops it off and then just like leaves. Peace. And then like I got like 30, 40 kids showing up to fish, and I'm by myself. Like it was pandemonia. Like I'm like trying to, and they're fishing bait and stuff, so I'm like trying to pinch barbs and do what I can to like not kill every fish. And kids are hooking fish, and I'm running around trying to like dig hooks out with my forceps, and kids are I'm tying, not like I'm just like running around left and right trying to like, and I had 2 fly rods with me, and since there wasn't anywhere near enough rods for kids, I'd set them up so like I put an indicator on so the line couldn't suck through, and they had about 9 or 10 feet of leader around, and I was telling the kids that I gave them to, absolutely no casting. I'm like, there's kids running around, like the last thing I want is like people trying to figure out fly fishing, and
eyeballs,
like I mean, at first I thought it was gonna be cool, and I was gonna be able to maybe take some of the kids that were like more experienced and do some fly fishing with them, but I soon realized that was not happening, and I showed them how to like pluck bluegill. Basically, I'm like, just go around the edges of the pond and just like dip. Like you don't even need to all you need to do is be on this first 3 or 4 feet of water. Like you don't need distance. And then I would be over unhooking a snapping turtle for another kid on the other side of the pond, and like see that there's a kid over there waving my line around like a main, and like come over, and I'm like, hey, I said no casting and stuff, and he'd be like, no, I no, like he said he knew how to fly fish. I'm like, he doesn't.
Sounds like you need a hand and a bunch more fly rods next year, right?
Yeah, definitely some safety goggles if we're doing the the flies.
That's cool.
Well, what do you have? What do you have coming up this spring and summer in terms of fishing and skating?
I mean, I'd like to see some more fishing trips come down the pipe.
Yeah.
But I mean, I got a few things that I'm gonna make fishing trips for sure, and
skate related stuff.
Yeah, somewhat, and like I think we gotta do another little rendezvous meetup with the decked crew. Hopefully, that was really fun last year, and we did. I mean, I fished a lot every day. There was one day that was dedicated to fishing, but I mean, we had this sick little creek next to where we were staying that was like tiny. Dude, I caught like a 14-inch trout in like the littlest pool of water, like it'd just be trickling down the rocks, and like I would not have even expected there to be fish in some of, like, it seemed like too steep of an incline of the river, and like just not any holding water. I don't know if it was just seasonal too, but like went out there and dipped a few pools and started finding some cool rainbows and brook trout, and no, I think I was catching rainbows and brown trout.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Nice. Nice. Well, Well, man, you have anything else, Kobe?
Damn, we already blast through this thing.
I feel
just
like-
get on a couple rants and it just goes right through.
Thanks for listening to Sidechannels, presented by the Flyfish Journal. Sidechannels is produced and edited by me and Colby Messick, with additional production support from Jeff Galbraith and Colin Wiseman, and digital and web support from Jesse Lou Galbraith and Kopi Voita. Thanks as well to Decked. Get decked and get after it at decked.com/flyfish, and Patagonia Fly Fishing, dependable gear built to connect with wild fish. Visit patagonia.com/fly-fish to learn more. If you're enjoying Sidechannels, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review. It really makes a difference and helps other people find the show. That's it. Have fun out there, enjoy the process, and we'll see you in a couple weeks with the next episode.